morning. This is Mercedes with your morning devotional. I'm very excited about this one, guys. I have 2 verses for you. But first, I want to call out the ladies real quick. I need your help. I can't be the only woman on this platform. Don't leave me alone, please. I'd love to hear what some of you have to say. I'm sure at least one of you has something on your heart that you've really been wanting to share. And these morning devotionals need to be as many different perspectives as possible. If there's something on your heart, please consider making a devotional and sharing it, because I want to hear what you have to say. It could really help me. So now let's get to the verses. And here's what's really interesting about these 2 verses that I'm going to share. One of them is in the Old Testament and one of them is in the New Testament. And one of them, God's talking to Joshua, and the other one, Jesus is talking to me. Well, not exactly me, but he might as well be talking to me. So let me share this with you. So the first verse is Joshua 1:8. And the Lord's giving Joshua many instructions here, but this one in particular just really hits home for me. My version of the Bible, by the way, is NIV, so yours might be a little different, but it says, "Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful." So that's a pretty clear instruction. It's a 2-part instruction though. Don't just pay attention to the word, but do it. Action, right? And then the next verse where Jesus is talking to me is Matthew chapter 7 verse 24. And it says, "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on rocks." There's 2 parts to that too. You got to hear the words, like hear them, and put them into practice. And I am just reminded so much about how, words without action, words are still really powerful. The Bible talks about how the tongue is like a rudder that steers a ship, a little part of a boat, but steers the whole thing. But it's the words that are followed by action. That's why these devotionals are so important. That's why for me, hearing people's testimony is so important, because I have a really hard time relating to Moses. I've never had to part a sea before, or, I've never been in a whale before. I can't relate to that. But in my day in and day out struggles, when I hear your testimony, when I hear how people had a problem and walked through it with Jesus, it's just something I can really sink my teeth into and grab onto. And then I think, well, if God could do this for someone, why wouldn't God help me with this? Why wouldn't God want to help me? And I feel like for me, in both cases, it says to study the word, hear the word. And I need to hear things repeatedly. I don't know about you, but I have a really good forgetter, and I have a squirrel syndrome, whereas I'll be focused on the right thing, and then shiny object, squirrel, and I get so distracted so easily. So I need constant reminders of the word, to the point where I am putting little scriptures in different parts of my house based on what that part of the house is supposed to do. Like in the bedroom where it says rest, I don't even know how to rest. Just trying to think about God all the time. And I'm trying to cue my environment to help me do that. I struggle, and I'm sure you can relate, with technology nowadays to really sit down and study for 3 hours the Bible. It doesn't sink in that much. Whereas for me, if I do little bits really deep, but I really hear it more. And what really gets to me is when I feel like I'm hearing the same thing multiple times. For me, that's always a sign to really, really pay attention. I think back to the armor of God and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word. And how can I have the armor of God if I don't have these words in my heart? How can I be ready for the day if I don't have this inside? And so I'm trying to, by as much as possible, get this inside until it becomes first nature. Because I got to tell you, sometimes something will happen. I'll get, frustrated, and it takes me a minute to remember, oh wait. I think the other piece that's really big is just how important that action is, because knowing the word is really important, but if you don't practice it, if you don't take action on it, then what does it really matter? It's kind of like, those people that know everything there is to know about something, but it's like, well, who cares? What have you done? And that's how I feel about this. It's not just the familiarity with the word. Really, for me, if the action doesn't follow, then it's just a mental exercise in futility. So that's one of the things I love about this app, and I love about this group, is that you can share a verse, you can look something up right in the app, and even the study pages are kind of nice. The study questions afterwards, really convicting. At least for me, they are. So with that, I want to prompt you and ask you, how familiar are you with the word, and how often do you act on it? Do you practice it? Because if I'm honest here, I could benefit from more familiarity, and I also want to up my practice game. I want to up my action game, because it's not, I could spend hours in the Bible reading and this intellectual exercise, but I think the real demonstration is the practice on how I treat my family, my fellows, and what I try to invest into those relationships. So with that, I want to thank you so much, and have a wonderful day, guys. And, remember, learn it and then practice it. See you later.